This week on Cruisin' New England. Hot rods, modifieds, and race cars. Today we're going to hang out with some real motorheads in the beautiful western New England mountains. I'm Paul Manette. I want to welcome you to another edition of Cruisin' New England. Today we're in Western Connecticut to meet up with an old friend at Hidden Valley Motorsports. Today we're going to have a look at one of his cars, and then he's going to take me to meet a friend and see his automobile collection. All this and more on Cruisin' New England. All my life, I've been cruising New England, meeting great people, visiting amazing places, and discovering wonderful classic and custom car collections, nostalgic automobilia, and so much more. Come on and join our adventure. I'm Paul Manette. Let's go cruising. Closed captioning for Cruisin' New England on Nesson is being brought to you by New England Recycling. Waste put to work.
This episode of Cruisin' New England with Paul Manette is brought to you by McMulkin Chevrolet, New England's largest volume Corvette dealer.
Hi, I'm Sam Grundy and this is my dad. Here at Grundy Insurance, we've been insuring your collector cars with agreed values at incredible rates for years. Now, through our MVP program, we can offer those same great rates for your daily drivers as well.
MVP, the motor vehicle program. We can cover daily drivers, exotics, antiques, all in one policy with exceptional service, exceptional rates, and great coverage.
See how much Grundy can save you in your garage today.
To get a quote or learn more, call us today or visit us at grundy.com.
Find out what's happening. Get up-to-date information as I travel throughout New England and beyond. To get exclusive information and behind-the-scenes photos, join me on Facebook. Hi, I'm Paul Manette, and I want to tell you about my new book, Collections American Style. I've teamed up with Berkshire Hills Publishing to create this beautiful full-color limited edition book. It features hundreds of full-color photographs, collector profiles, and historical tidbits. You'll see some of the finest automobile collections in the country, and memorabilia from the Wizard of Oz to the world's largest Kodak camera collection. Reserve your copy today at cruisingNewEngland.com.
Make it McMulkin Chevrolet, New England's largest volume new Corvette dealership.
While cruising New England, check out McMulkin, where there's always 250 new Corvettes to choose from. And a large selection of rare vintage classics, like this 1967 427 Tri-Power Corvette, or this classic 1969 Z28 Camaro, to a 1962 340 horsepower Corvette. Check them out at McMulkin.net.
The Thompson Auto Group.
Now we're back in Western Connecticut, and I'm here with a good friend of mine, Greg Massini, at his Hidden Valley Motorsports complex. And today he's going to show me one of his new builds.
Paul, this is a 64 El Camino. When we got this car, it was literally a basket case. The frame was bare, it had holes in it, it was cracked, it was broken. Doors were here, fenders were there. It's been about a 2-year project to assemble this car, and we actually just finished the other night with it. It was quite an achievement to get done what we got done with this car.
Now, Greg, were you out there looking for a 64 El Camino, or is this just a car that came up that you liked?
No, I was looking for any El Camino. I have 4 other El Caminos. I love El Caminos. I've got an 82, 287s, now a 64. And trying to find a 69 or a 70 Super Sport would be my primary goal right at the moment. But El Caminos, I just love El Caminos.
So now I understand when you bought this, it was actually a tan color?
It was tan, a very dull, boring tan color, and we decided to go with a candy apple red, but it's really not a red, it's more of an eggplant color, but it just pops in the sunlight. It's beautiful.
Well, if you look at it from a distance, it almost looks black. And then when you get up to it and you see that when the light hits it, it's actually a gorgeous color.
It does. It changes color in the light, and it's just, with the interior and the outside, it's just beautiful. I love it.
So Greg, have you done any modifications to it? Is it stock under the hood, or?
It is not stock, Paul. The engine wasn't with it, transmission wasn't with it, so I just bought a little crate engine and we got a little 3-speed back in it. The rear end is the same rear end, all the springs. As much stuff as we could put original back in, we did. The dash, the whole interior is original, but the engine is not.
Now, is this going to be a trailer queen, or is this going to be a driver? What are you going to do with it?
No, sir, I can't wait to drive it. This is a driver for me.
Well, being in the hobby that you are in, it better be a driver.
It is. It will be a great driver. One of the most unique things about this car, when I got the car and we started restoring it, this is the West Coast edition from the factory as far as the tinting of the windshield. The tinting, which is a gold color, is extremely hard to find. How it ended up on the East Coast, I'm not sure. I believe the car was originally from Arizona.
So, Greg, what'd you do with the interior?
The interior, when I got the framing of the seat, it was just a bare frame. And there was no carpeting, there was no door panels, there was nothing. We were able to get a lot of the interior parts with the new companies now that produce things that go back to the originality of the car. The seat I took to an individual who did a beautiful job for me, put everything back the way it should have been, as far as the foam, using the burlap, and the design of the seat. There's a lot to doing in the interior, but it came out just gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
It's just gorgeous.
You know, when you take these to car shows, it actually can go in different classes. It could go under an automobile class, or it could go in a pickup class. What do you consider this?
I guess I'd have to consider it a pickup, tell you the truth, because that's what the El Caminos were being used for. It drives like a car, it handles like a car, but you could throw stuff in the bed and use it as a pickup.
Greg, tell us what you did with the bed.
The bed was it was cleaned up. There's a little storage compartment in front of it, at the very front of the bed. Most El Caminos don't have that, this does. And the bed was just, it's not painted finished, it's used, there's a coating on it, and everything is, all the chrome and everything is put back right in just as it should be.
And you went old school rims with this, didn't you?
I did. We tossed that back and forth what to do with it, whether to go get some really fancy rims for it, but in the end, the old school way was the way to go.
As always, you do everything the right way.
Paul, I got someone I want you to meet. His name is Tommy Cavanaugh. He has a gorgeous collection of...
How you doing, Paul? Tom Cavanaugh.
Nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
I'm all excited about coming up to your place and see some of the cars that are there and some of your memorabilia.
Good to have you.
You all set to go?
I am. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Go.
So I'm really excited about going to see Tommy's collection.
This episode of Cruisin' New England with Paul Manette is brought to you by McMulkin Corvette, where there is always 250 Corvettes to choose from.
Order a bunch of parts to get ready for the car show this weekend?
And I got a hot deal, too.
You think? Think again.
Oh, man.
Tired of back orders? You need NPD. With 4 strategically located superstores, most orders arrive within 1 to 3 business days. National Parts Depot has quality restoration parts for Mustang, Camaro, Chevelle, GTO, Firebird, Ford, and Chevy truck. For your free catalog, go online or call toll-free.
Do you have a child with food allergies? Does your school need help managing food allergies? I'm Gina Minette-Lee, a nationally recognized food allergy author, educator, and consultant. I provide a common-sense, fact-based approach to managing food allergies at home and at school. For more information, visit foodallergyconsulting.com.
We're the Hill family, and we are Imperial Worldwide. We are the largest insulation supplier in Central Mass. We specialize in insulation, vinyl siding, seamless gutters, and closet-made shelving. And we are going to save you money. We're the Hills!
I'm Lieutenant Gary Scott. Green Mountain State has beautiful sights for all to enjoy. To protect our great state, Vermont will not tolerate drug driving. Drug recognition experts are being deployed statewide to keep our roads safe. If you get high and drive, you will be arrested for DUI.
Your special moments are something to remember. For weddings, portraits, and special events, contact Sparks Fly Photography.
Would you like more information about the Cruisin' New England Car Show series? Go to our website at cruisinnewengland.com.
Celebrate the Big E's 100th anniversary, September 16th to October 2nd in West Springfield, Massachusetts.
So Paul, this is Tommy's place, and I'll catch up with you guys later. Have fun.
Okay.
Thanks, Greg.
Boy, he told me it was an outrageous collection, and it is.
Well, I'm pleased to have you folks here, and I'd love to share some information with you on all these cars, and it'd be fun to start it.
So might as well start off with the 37 flatback.
Let's do it.
Let's talk.
It's got old V8 in it, flat head, they call them. And I built this car because when I was a little kid, we lived not far from a 5/8 mile high bank dirt. And we got to go out when we were kids and watch these cars run. And this one was always the one that won. I decided that I wanted to build an icon, if you would, there, of a favorite car that I liked. So this is what I came up with. I really only had one picture at the time to actually build from, which came out really nice. I mean, it's exact.
Tommy, Mahawi Motors. I mean, are you a used car lot, or what about that?
Mahawi Motors was an old Ford dealership right down in our little town of Great Barrington here. It's been defunct for a long time, and so that's what we call Mahawi Motors. That's where that came from.
Well, let's talk about the truck.
And this is a 1940 Ford. I still run a small block Ford in it. It runs great. It's kind of, I started out to make a rat rod out of it, but it's kind of nice. So
what do you have under the hood?
So a small block Ford, 302, punched out pretty good. It runs good.
You know, it is kind of a rat roddy look to it.
Yeah, well, it's fun building a rat rod like this because there's really no rules, and we see some kind of fun stuff we can add on here and there, and it's really fun.
These vehicles are great, and I know you got a lot more to show me.
Absolutely.
Let's go look.
Love to show you.
Okay. Real honest-to-God race cars you have here.
Absolutely. This was actually my second one I built after the LOX. This is a 1956 Ford sedan, two-door post, they call it. And there was a lot of them in our little town.
You know, back then, though, you could buy these cars for a couple $100. Right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Don't you wish you could buy them for a couple $100?
Oh, right? Man, I guess so. These are very hard to find, especially if you ever get one. The last thing you do is cut it up like I did.
Well, I'll tell you, it looks great. What do you have under the hood?
This is a big block Ford right here because when they started racing over the valley, after they got rid of the flatheads, they went to big blocks, and they would run these all the time. And right down the road, this guy had a connection with Holman Moody. So I put another Holman Moody big block in here, and to kind of replicate the same ones that I remember.
Wow, it's beautiful. Yeah. And you really have done that.
It's got a 4-speed top loader in it. It's got a 9-inch in the rear, and it runs really good. Well, this is actually a built 390. I tried to get a 427 for it, but they were so expensive, and they're so rare right now. It's over $10,000, $15,000 for a non-running 427. I found a real built down south Holman Moody 390, and we put that in there, and this has got a lot of horsepower. We've never had it dynoed, but I know it's way over 400.
Wow.
Yep.
You were lucky to get it.
Absolutely.
So what do we have over here?
Well, what we have over here is a 55 Chevy. And this car is kind of unique. It's got a huge engine in it. It's kind of a different little ride because this is sitting on an ex-Earnhardt chassis. This is a NASCAR chassis that we picked up, and it's got the serial numbers on it to prove it.
When you say Earnhardt chassis, for people that don't know, you're talking about something that he built himself, the Earnhardt team?
Well, it came out of their corral there, if you would. It's an Earnhardt chassis. In other words, they built it strictly for them.
Well, that must have been hard to get.
It was. It was.
So I guess there's something special under the hood we'll have a look at.
Absolutely. This is a huge block Chevy. There you go. I'll just hold it up in here for you. This is a 572 cubic inch Chevy. It's got the coilovers on the outside, probably pushing 650 horse. It's a handful to drive. I mean, you got to be on it pretty good.
You would never think this was set up for street.
When you see it beside you on the street, you'd never think that either.
There we go. Perfect. So if we line these two up, who wins the race?
Obviously, this one.
Well, when we come back, folks, a lot more Cruisin' New England right here in Weston, Massachusetts.
Stay
still ahead on Cruisin' New England. So we're back in Western Massachusetts. I'm here with Tom. What are we going to see next?
Well, we got a 55 Ford country sedan wagon.
So was this a total restoration here for you, or was it in pretty good shape when you bought it?
It was in really good shape. This is a California car, so that kind of got rid of the rust problem.
So let's have a look at under the hood. I want to see what it looks like.
Sure, sounds good.
Tom, are you kidding me or what? Every time you open up a hood, it looks like it's show ready. I don't see any dirt anywhere.
Well,
you sure you drive this?
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a lot of missions going on this summer too before it's over. We're going to put a lot of miles on this. What this has got in here for an engine is a 347, what they call stroker engine. This is putting out about 4¼ horsepower. Single carburetor, 4-barrel carburetor, obviously, and it runs cool and it runs good. I backed it up with a AOD, which is an automatic overdrive transmission, and you can get going down the road and push that in overdrive, and it just smooths right out. So this is a long distance runner right here.
It's beautiful. Tommy, you did a great job matching the interior to this paint job. Tell me what you did.
This has got a convertible interior because the sedans, the country sedan was the lowest model. And then if you look in the back, it's got the convertible back end because it didn't have that nice Ford emblem in the back. And it's got the buttons on it where you'd still put the convertible boot on it. So it's kind of unique that way.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. But you are missing one thing.
What's that?
A surfboard on the top.
Oh God, yeah. Good idea.
The least likely of all the vehicles that I see here that you would own is something that I see right behind you, a Bronco. What is a guy with all these race cars and these beautiful street rods and everything doing with a Bronco? But it's a beauty.
Well, I can tell you about this. This is a 1974, again, California car, body, zero rust on it. I put a new front end in it, bigger tie rods. I did some studying on it. And now you can go down the road at 80 miles an hour with one hand, no problem. But you got to keep in mind that it's got an 8-foot wheelbase.
People may be thinking, why's he got a Bronco? These things are going sky high in value. I mean, you know, at one time you could buy these things for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Hey, let me tell you, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for some of these.
Yeah, we were just at a show just last weekend and some guy was kicking the tires on it. And I never had a for sale sign on it, but he offered me quite a bit of money for it.
Tommy, we've seen racing cars, we've seen your Cruiser, even a Bronco. But I see a super hot rod over there. Can I have a look at it?
I'd love to show it to you.
Okay.
Paul, I'd like to have you meet my brother Jim.
Jim, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And this is his ride right here. I'll have to have you tell him about this.
Well, to me, it looks like a super rod. Why don't you tell me what it is?
Well, it's a 1946 Chevy Fleetmaster, but it's been chopped, shaved, dropped, and totally rebuilt.
Well, let's talk about the paint right off the bat.
Well, this paint is very difficult to work with because this is actually a gray primer. It's not like the new rat rods you see today that have a matte black. You can't really clean this with anything. It's just a regular primer color. But then they put these scallops on, which is very, very, very common back in this period. What's called a custom.
That's the proper terminology for this type of hot rod, is a custom. And this car is period correct from bumper to bumper, everything that they had back in the 50s, which was the custom era.
And you even have some pinstriping there that really,
Yep.
stands out really well. When you look at this car, of course you look at the motor. Let's talk about that.
Certainly. That's a 327, totally rebuilt. It's got a big thumper cam in it, 3 deuces. Back, they're again period correct. That's what they did. They didn't have 350s or any big blocks back in the day. So that's the motor that they used to take out of Corvettes. Some were fuel injected, but most of them are 3 deuces. That's 3 2-barrel carburetors. It's very stout too. It's about 450 horse.
It looks awesome, does it? This gets a lot of attention, I know. Now I see that you got the side pipes and the wheels. Let's talk about them.
Well, this is being an air ride car. In other words, there's airbags on all 4 wheels for suspension. I can raise this up and go down the road, and then when I get to a show, I can drop it down. And those lake pipes is what they used to call, sits right on the ground, as you can see. The wheels are chrome reverse with a solid center cap. Very common.
Those are common, but can you buy them like that?
Oh yeah, they're, you have to hunt around a little bit, but a lot of the speed shops still carry things like that just for this type of application.
All right, the interior, what you do with it?
Well, I got it like that, similar. It was done out near the Chicago area, just like the pinstriping was done by a guy named Voodoo Larry. He's out from there too. It's very cool.
Hey, listen, guys, you have some super automobiles here, and I've got a super show. The Super Wheel Showdown at City Hall Plaza in Boston. And I want to invite you with that beautiful wagon that you have here today, but I want to see a surfboard on it.
Absolutely.
And this 46, I would love to have this in the Super Wheel Showdown.
Thank you so much.
So
I'm honored.
you'll be part of my top 100 show.
Oh, great.
And I wanted to have the both of you come to it. I'm glad you accepted it.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Thank you very much.
When we come back, a lot more Cruisin New England in Western Massachusetts.
When you're visiting Vermont, never drive while distracted or impaired, and always remember to buckle up. That's the best way to ensure everyone gets home safely.
Make it McMulkin Chevrolet, New England's largest volume new Corvette dealership.
While cruising New England, check out McMulkin, where there's always 250 new Corvettes to choose from. And a large selection of rare vintage classics, like this 1967 427 Tri-Power Corvette, or this classic 1969 Z28 Camaro, to a 1962 340 horsepower Corvette. Check them out at McMulkin.net.
The Thompson Auto Group.
Imperial Worldwide insulation vinyl siding, copper and seamless aluminum gutters, closet-made shelving systems, and zero-clearance fireplaces. We strive to make the building process easy and fun.
Check out Cruisin New England Productions website. You'll see updated information about our fun car show series, including the Magical Mystery Cruise, the Circle of Champions, the Super Wheel Showdown, and the Spooktacular Cruisin' Classic. Also subscribe to Cruisin New England magazine. We feature some of the hottest rides in the Northeast, along with event listings and a whole lot more. Don't miss a single issue. And if you want more information about sponsorships, advertising, or personal appearances by Paul Manette, email us at cruisenewengland@aol.com.
Building Maintenance Services. We've been servicing the Northeast since 1990. We service and repair revolving doors, automatic and handicap doors. We can help you design an attractive, efficient entrance you can be proud of. Protect your investment and secure your property with yearly maintenance contracts and 24-hour service. Whether in office, medical, or commercial high-rise, we'll get the job done right for you. Building Maintenance Services.
Do you have a vintage car, boat, motorcycle, or airplane collection, along with some memorabilia? Would you like to be featured on our show? Email us at cruisenewengland@aol.com. So we're back with Tom and Greg, and there's no car collection or garage without a gas pump, and this one's got a special story.
Absolutely, Paul. We all know each other, we all work with each other, have for years, and Dad's collection with all the pumps he had and everything, Tom had needed a pump here and Dad knew it, and Dad has given away 2 in his lifetime. He would never get rid of anything, but he gave one of them to Tommy because he knew it would be taken care of and represented well as a pump with his collection. So Dad was very honored to give it to Tommy.
Absolutely, and I appreciate it a lot.
Every great car collection needs a great garage, and I know you've got one here. Let's go look. Tommy, you got some great memorabilia here, from surfboards to even club jackets.
Absolutely.
And I see one draped over the hot rod.
Absolutely. This was a special one, Paul. Years ago, back in the 50s, There was actually a car club in Great Barrington. I didn't realize this. It was brought to my attention probably about a year or two ago now. And it was obviously called the Good Nights in Great Barrington. And there was a bunch of guys around getting into hot rods, a lot of customs then and things like that. This jacket is one of the only ones I think was remaining. I've been able to contact through older members if they had any old jackets left over, and they can't, obviously they've just disappeared. One guy did actually have one jacket left, and so we got it.
You know, Tommy, here's the good news. I know a number of collectors that love club jackets, and they can range anywhere from finding one in a thrift shop for $10 to in the thousands of dollars.
That's a good idea.
And that one's a mint one. I'm going to tell you, from the 50s, you might have a gold mine right there.
Well, it means a lot because it's out of our little town more than anything. I probably could get some money for it, but they'll never go anywhere. As long as I'm watching it, who knows where it goes after that.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
So what sort of things makes this the Tommy Man Cave?
Well, I like racing, I like hot rods, I like neon, I like all that kind of stuff. So anything related to any of that I find here and there, especially stuff that might pertain to Great Barrington, stuff like that. So we just collect it. I don't like paying a lot of money for it, we just get it. People start dropping stuff off for us that we think we might like.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is fun.
You know what? As soon as I walked in the door here, I felt really good. So the stuff that you have on the walls is a feel-good collection.
It's a comfortable feeling in here. There's a lot of sentimental stuff that from different guys. Racing, hot rodding, like this, racing is a big deal for us.
So Tom, this 39 Ford modified, we're talking modified for racing.
Exactly.
Well, tell me about it.
Well, we are a part of a vintage organization that runs different vintage racing out throughout the East Coast a lot, and you can go as many races as you want, but these are all older cars. This one especially is an old one. It actually ran in the late 60s and the 70s, and it's an old survivor, pretty much. And we've upgraded safety parts. We've put disc brakes and things on it, new engine, things like that, stuff you have to be safe with, because we have to get these cars inspected for safety purposes.
Well, tell me about the engine.
Well, it's a small block Ford. All my stuff in here is Ford, but that's a small block Ford 302. It's putting out about 4 1/4 horse, the way we figured it out. It's never been dynoed, but
it kind of looks like a show car more than it does a race car. It's in mint condition.
It is. It's a surprisingly good shape for being banged around as a race car for a lot of years. Another big point on these particular cars, they used to cut the door down a lot for drivers that ease in getting out and in, and they never had to cut these. It's a little bit difficult getting in and out of here because you have to go through that window, but that's one of the big points about this car that I like.
Well, I did notice you have a lot of signatures on the dash. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, we were lucky enough to go to Darlington Speedway down there about 5 or 6 years ago. They had a segment that went for 3 years in a row. We went to all of them, and when we got down to this big vintage thing right down there in Carolina, they had a lot of top-notch drivers down there, and they were just walking around looking at our cars. So every time a big name guy would come by, we'd ask for their signatures, and I got pictures in the other room of them signing the car as well.
Give me an overview of some of the people who signed it.
Junior Johnson, Marvin Panch was one of the first, Charlie Glassback, the Lee Hallman, both Allison boys, brothers. Wow. We got a lot of them.
It really adds to the value of this car.
Oh, absolutely.
Comes time to sell, that's going to add a lot of value.
I always told my brother, boy, if I ever smash this thing up, make sure you take those panels first.
I don't blame you. Tom, you have a great collection of automobiles here. Thanks for sharing it with me.
Well, it's my pleasure for sure, and it's a great sharing all this stuff with a lot of people. I like that a lot.
I want to thank my good friend Greg, Jimmy, and Tommy for a great day here today in Western Massachusetts and Western Connecticut. I'm Paul Manette. Until next time, I'll be cruising New England.